Jesus Christ's journey to India and his encounter with the mystics of the Himalayas. History holds many mysteries, but few are as captivating as the missing years of Jesus Christ. In the Christian faith, very little is known about his life between the ages of 12 and 30. A number of scholars and legends suggest that during this time, Jesus traveled to India, where he studied with Himalayan sages and mystics, absorbing profound wisdom in philosophy, science, and spirituality. This journey, it is believed, deeply shaped his later teachings and the course of Western civilization. The journey to India. At around 14 years old, Jesus felt a strong call to seek a deeper understanding of life's purpose. This quest for truth led him far from his homeland. He is said to have traveled along ancient trade routes through Central Asia, Afghanistan, and Kashmir before finally reaching the snow-capped Himalayas. In these remote valleys and mountains, he found sages, yogis, and monks dedicated to meditation and the pursuit of eternal truth. Their reputation for wisdom was widespread, and it was here that Jesus immersed himself in India's ancient traditions. Meeting the mystics of the Himalayas. Among the snowbound caves and sacred ashrams, Jesus encountered Himalayan mystics who introduced him to the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita. They taught him that the ultimate goal of life is the union of the soul with the divine. Through yoga, meditation, and the philosophy of non-violence, Jesus learned that truth and love are the core of all religions. These teachings became a fundamental part of what he would later preach. Knowledge of science and philosophy. The mystics of India didn't limit their knowledge to spirituality. They also shared with Jesus the wisdom of Ayurveda, astronomy, and the classical philosophies of Samkhya and Nyaya. He learned how the cycles of the stars and planets were studied for centuries, how herbs and minerals were used to create medicines, and how logic and reason were tools for understanding the cosmos. For Jesus, this was a revelation. Science and spirituality were not separate, but two complementary paths to understanding God's creation. The influence of Hindu philosophy. Hindu philosophy, particularly Vedanta, made a deep impression on Jesus. The principle of Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, resonated with him profoundly. You can hear echoes of this Vedantic truth in his later statement, "The Father is in me, and I am in the Father." He also saw how Indian culture embraced the universal spirit of Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, may all beings be happy. Compassion, equality, and unity weren't just abstract ideas, they were lived realities. This experience deeply shaped his vision for humanity. Enlightenment and awakening. After years of learning, meditation, and practice, Jesus achieved a new level of spiritual awakening. The Himalayan yogis taught him that true religion isn't about external rituals, but about inner transformation, about compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional love. It was here that Jesus fully grasped the eternal truth: love is God, and God is love. Return to the West. When Jesus finally returned to Judea, he was a transformed man, a teacher and prophet glowing with wisdom. The lessons he brought back with him were the very essence of what he had learned in India. He began to preach love for all, non-violence, service to the poor, and forgiveness even for one's enemies. While these principles were framed within his Jewish and Roman context, they reflected the profound spiritual and philosophical influence of the East. Impact on the Western world. This knowledge's influence went far beyond religion. Jesus' teachings planted seeds that later helped cultivate Western civilization. His emphasis on truth, compassion, and human dignity set the stage for Europe's Renaissance and scientific revolution centuries later. The very spirit of inquiry and exploration that drove the West's advancements in science and technology carried echoes of that ancient wisdom Jesus absorbed in the East. The idea that truth must be sought and the world must be understood both materially and spiritually. The modern relevance. Today, when we talk about Western technology, from computers and space exploration to medicine and artificial intelligence, it's easy to focus only on material progress. But underneath this lies a deeper foundation: the values of compassion, human dignity, and the quest for truth. The story of Jesus' journey to India reminds us that knowledge knows no boundaries. True wisdom belongs not to one nation or religion, but to humanity as a whole. Conclusion. Whether Jesus' journey to India is a historical fact or a sacred legend, the message is clear: India has always been a fountain of spiritual, philosophical, and scientific knowledge. If Jesus truly came to the Himalayas, he carried back with him the same eternal truths the sages had spoken for centuries. Love is the highest religion, knowledge is the greatest wealth, and the soul is one with the divine. In that truth lies not only the foundation of his message, but also the very roots of the Western world's progress today.